Welcome to Lesson 2, Site-Specific Safety Plans. Coming up in this lesson, fundamentals, plan ownership, customizing a plan to keep it sustainable, objectives, where the values come from, hazard assessment, the heart of a plan, deliverables, how stakeholders get involved, recommended content, the things to document, 3 key success factors, and how leadership and communication bring your plan to life. Fundamentals. The Site-Specific Safety Plan, the SSSP, documents how a contractor will work at a site in compliance with a client's unique requirements and site conditions. As the name implies, the actual value of a site-specific safety plan is identifying elements of a specific workplace that may pose a new or unusual hazard, then aligning the contractor's work practices and standards accordingly. Creating a plan is a formal activity that benefits from input from those managing the work site. A template with standardized content can significantly decrease administrative time and serves as a content checklist. The generic template must then be customized to document the site-specific conditions, geography, facilities, hazards, and other elements. Plans must meet legislated minimum standards. Plans will also include client standards that contractors must comply with. Client standards are frequently higher than the legislated minimums and require resources to comply with. Ownership. The plan is created by the contractor. It's based on their understanding of the proposed scope of work and how they will operate on the client site. It's required that the contractor personnel responsible for creating the plan know the client's requirements, then bridge them with the contractor's business practices and methods. Ideally, there is a quality control function by the owner or prime contractor where the plan is reviewed and approved. The quality review should provide feedback to the contractor and correction of the plan where required. Customization and sustainability. There's a wide set of project types and contracting scenarios where a site-specific safety plan provides value. Project stakeholders must assess each case and determine the comprehensiveness of any given plan given the business drivers of the project. The resource documents provided for this lesson include a lean and comprehensive template that users can customize for each worksite. Objectives. A suitable plan will describe the scope of the work, including the known assumptions, constraints, and deliverables. Identify the site-specific risks and hazards known to be present and those that may foreseeably arise from the execution of the contracted work. Identify hazard controls. Include input from contractor and client stakeholders. Have provisions for communication of the details of the plan to impacted personnel. Provide stakeholder feedback and identify a method to update the plan if as required. Include applicable local and regional emergency response services, including contact information and consideration of site access and incident command protocol. Hazard assessment. A suitably comprehensive hazard assessment is the core of an SSSP. The assessment will identify site-specific hazards and specify controls. This lesson's lean and comprehensive templates each incorporate a list of common hazards found on high-risk work sites. Generally, a plan will include high-level identification of site features, equipment, processes, geography, or other hazard sources. Task or trade-specific assessments are then completed that address site-specific conditions. These documents should be added to plan as they are created and as the project rolls out. Deliverables. Responsibilities of management and supervisors for site-specific safety plans include support the plan process by participating in the development if as required. communicate the requirements of the plan to his or her work team, including scope of work review, identification of known and anticipated hazards, the established hazard control methods, the process for plan improvement suggestions, assess on-site personnel for knowledge of the plan and take actions to adjust if as required. The deliverables of site personnel in health and safety roles include assisting with plan development, including subject matter knowledge and supporting other stakeholders, assessing the plan for relevance and congruence with client requirements and site-specific hazards, performing periodic audits of plan compliance with hazard-exposed workers, educating, coaching, and mentoring site personnel on plan requirements if and as necessary. Employee deliverables. Review the plan before entering the work site. Comply with the requirements. Participate in developing and communicating the plan, if as applicable to the job description. Notify team leaders of task assignments, conditions, or behavior that may endanger themselves or others. Recommended content. The following elements can be included in a site-specific safety plan. The content depends on site requirements, resources, scope of work, work duration, relative risk, and standards for comprehensiveness. A project-level risk assessment is a mandatory component. Consider each of the following elements for applicability and include them when warranted. Please note that the following is not a comprehensive list. Refer to the templates provided with this lesson for additional detail. Safety Policy Statement. Project description with schedule and milestones. Emergency plan, including contact information and response resources. Subcontractor list. Equipment list. Safety resources. Right duty to refuse immediately hazardous work. Training requirements. Includes site orientation, trade task-specific training, and competency. General safety rules. Safe work procedures and practices, specifically high-risk tasks. Incident reporting and investigation. Occupational health. Security and site access. The following documentation is recommended for inclusion in a plan where warranted. The project-level risk assessment. Legislation applicable to the project, federal, regional, and local standards governing health and safety, human resourcing, quality, etc. Project-level approvals, licenses, or authorizations. Macro-level hazard assessment. Trade and/or service-specific hazard assessments. Site map identifying general layout of facilities, emergency muster and meeting points, first aid facilities, and other manager worksite features. Emergency action plan, including primary on-site and off-site resources. Work permit system. Security plan. Hazard assessment process. Incident management and reporting standards. Environmental management plan. Key success factors. Plans that provide long-term value integrate safety and health requirements into the work scope and execution strategy. 3 key success factors are 1. Diligent creation of the plan with good comprehension of site specifics bridged to the contractor's work standards. 2. Effective communication of requirements and expectations to all impacted stakeholders. And 3. Worker ownership of the field-level hazard assessment and mitigation processes. Leadership and communication. Review the plan in sufficient detail with all site personnel. Provide periodic updates if as necessary. Encourage field ownership of the plan, especially the field-level hazard assessment process. Actively vet and support input from workers to improve the plan. Team leaders are key individuals responsible for safety, quality, and productivity. Hence, they should have communication skills that meet the requirements of their role. The leadership traits of the frontline supervisor are critical to long-term success. Emphasize the work on soft skills development with this critical group. Deep knowledge of the plan will aid team leaders in making the best decisions relative to the hazards their people face. Conclusion. The site-specific safety plan is a critical project management document and a contractor management best practice. A well-executed and communicated plan brings significant value to projects of all types and sizes. The need for a plan tends to grow with project size, complexity, and hazards present. A suitably comprehensive and communicated plan is an act of due diligence for every organization in the contractor chain, starting with facility owners and clients to prime contractors, general contractors, and trade contractors. Lesson Review. This lesson covered plan fundamentals, plan ownership, customizing and sustaining a plan, the objectives, where value comes from, hazard assessment, the heart of the plan, deliverables for all stakeholders, recommended content, suggested documentation, and success factors, and the importance of steady leadership and effective communication.